Good evening to one and all. A warm welcome for InBody's webinar on body composition analysis and its application in COVID-19. Looking after the current situation, it's very important for us to understand where body composition analysis will play a major role in COVID-19. Today, me, dietitian Ankita Ghag, will taking you throughout the applications on how BCA will be helping you in COVID-19. The current scenario about COVID-19 is not hidden by anyone. The deaths are more than 59,000 and the number is still going on. We as a dietitian, we as a paramedics, we need to take care about this situation, at least in managing the patient and making the patient hemodynamically stable. Pathophysiology of COVID-19. First of all, virus enters the body. Then it leads to viral bronchial pneumonia. After a while, it develops a condition where it is leading to infective pulmonary edema. Because of this, there is a stage which occurs in the body which is known as cytokine storm. Here, various cytokines will play a major role in causing antigen-antibody reactions. It works as a double-edged sword. Now, what will this double-edged sword do? It will harm the other organs and it will lead to multiple organ failure. At the end, it will lead to death. Phase 2 of COVID-19. In this phase, you will see infective pulmonary edema, which is caused due to acute respiratory distress syndrome, most oftenly known as ARDS. In this stage, you will see increased catabolic state, wherein you will see muscle breakdown, which is resulting in increased inflammation. There is a cytokine storm, resulting in secretion of lot of interleukins inside the body, which is leading to endothelial damage. This endothelial damage is giving secondary bacterial infection. This bacterial infection is leading to multiple organ failure. It attacks on renal, liver, heart. At the end, the person dies. How will body composition analysis will help in phase 2 and phase 3 of COVID-19? As we all know, there is going to be an increased catabolism in that individual. We need to monitor their muscle fat breakdown. To monitor that, we need to look out for their lean mass, their fat mass, their skeletal muscle index. This will help us to provide them adequate nutritional support and to make patient hemodynamically stable. Cytokine storm. In this condition, there is going to be a muscle breakdown, fluid overload. We need to understand their nutritional status and their mortality rate. This can be monitored with the help of skeletal muscle index, extracellular water ratio, phase angle, and body composition history plays a major role in monitoring these parameters. In such conditions, anti-inflammatory agents should be prescribed. Managing the comorbidities is also essential part of it. If needed, the person is put on plasmapheresis. Managing respiratory failure, be it type 1 or type 2, with the help of nasal oxygen or bag and mask. Multiple organ failure is seen at phase 3, which is caused due to secondary bacterial infections. Here the person is having anasarca. To monitor the nutritional status is very essential, and to understand the mortality of this person is essential. The parameters we should be focusing on is extracellular water ratio, skeletal muscle index, body cell mass, phase angle, and to monitor the body composition history is essential. In this stage, the person is on ventilator. We need to understand the fluid overload of the person, and the first most important thing which we need to do is try and make the patient hemodynamically stable. We shall be discussing skeletal muscle index, extracellular water ratio, and phase angle in details in further slides. Now let's understand more about skeletal muscle index, that is, what is skeletal muscle index and how it is going to be beneficial for COVID-19 patients. Skeletal muscle index is a ratio of your muscles in your arms and your legs to your height. The formula is appendicular skeletal muscle mass divided by height in meter square. That means right arm plus left arm, right leg plus left leg, divided by height in meters square will give you skeletal muscle index. The cutoff ranges are: for males it is 7 kg per meter square and for females it's 5.7 kg per meter square. It will tell us about the sarcopenia or the muscle atrophy taking place in the individuals. Why is skeletal muscle index essential in respiratory system? Recent study states that respiratory muscles, especially inspiratory muscles, are significantly related to limb muscle strength and skeletal muscle index. Now, this limb muscle strength is nothing but the skeletal muscle index, which plays an essential role in identifying sarcopenia in any individual. We can see maximum inspiratory pressure and maximum expiratory pressure is highly correlated with skeletal muscle index, be it with your age or normal assessment. A recent study which was done in 2017 on geriatric population having COPD states that there is a strong correlation between physical inactivity, loss of skeletal muscle mass and dietary intake in COPD patients, because physical inactivity might be a strong predictor of prognosis. There was a strong correlation between physical activity and skeletal muscle index. The person who was active was having higher skeletal muscle index as compared to the person who wasn't. Same goes with the person who's having a proper dietary intake and doing a proper physical activity was having a good quality of muscles as compared to the person who wasn't. Recent study states that loss of muscle mass or lower muscle mass is a predictor of long-term mortality in individuals with aspirational pneumonia. And in phase 2 of COVID-19, we see pneumonia present in the patients. Therefore, it's very essential to prevent the muscle loss. Therefore, it will help for speedy recovery of adults who are having pneumonia. To assess the person is gaining muscles, it's very essential to monitor skeletal muscle mass of an individual. Now, let's understand how extracellular water will play a major role in assessing the individuals of COVID-19 in phase 2 and phase 3. What is extracellular water ratio? It is a ratio of extracellular water to total body water, which is an important indicator of body water balance. The ratio between intracellular water and extracellular water should be 3:2. In healthy individual, this ratio should be between 0.360 to 0.390. However, due to aging process or chronic disorders, the ratio is being changed, resulting in edema, anasarca, fluid overload or specific limb edema. Let's see this case study. As we all know, the normal ratio of ECW ratio is 0.360 to 0.390. But here the ECW ratio is 0.400. If we say case number 1, there is increased amount of extracellular water which is due to either a heart failure or renal disorder or any kind of a chronic disorders. Post-surgically such kind of things are seen, else the person is under catabolic stress where there is water retention which has taken place. Now if we see the case 2, where there is decrease in intracellular water, that means the person is reducing his body cell mass, the muscle mass is reducing. It is a classic sign of malnourishment, aging and cachexia. Body cell mass is nothing but the protein and intracellular water, which will tell us about the muscle mass present inside the body of an individual. As we have studied, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, that COPD, often leads to massive edema, which results in cor pulmonale. The mechanism by which COPD patient retains salt and water are not completely understood till today. Several abnormalities have found reduced renal blood flow with relatively preserved GFR and elevated levels of renin, aldosterone, arginine, vasopressin and arterial natriuretic peptides. These abnormalities usually worsen the severity of COPD, which is marked during the edematous phase. Therefore, it's very essential to monitor extracellular water ratio in such patients. How do we monitor the quality of muscles? It's very easy by monitoring their muscle mass and extracellular water ratio. For example, if the muscles are reduced but extracellular water is increased, that means the quality of muscle is reducing, which is not a good sign. If muscles are increasing but extracellular water is decreasing, that means there is increase in muscle mass, which is a great sign. If muscle mass is reducing and extracellular water is also reducing, that means there is reduction of excessive fluid, which is a good sign because the person is coming out of edema. The person is coming out of excessive water retention. If the person is increasing his muscle mass, also increasing his extracellular water, that means the person is going into fluid overload because that is increase in extracellular water. That is a worse sign. How are we going to monitor their quality of muscles? With the help of body composition history. In body composition history, we can track their weight, skeletal muscle mass, person body fat, and extracellular water ratio. So we will understand if the quality of muscle improving, is it deteriorating, if the prognosis chances are going on a poor side because their ECW ratio is going on a higher side and muscle mass is coming on the lower side. So that's where we come to know what is the next line of action we are going to do for this patient. What is phase angle and why do we need phase angle? What are its basic role and how are we benefited out of it? Let's understand in our further slides about it. Let's understand what is phase angle. BIA involves obtaining impedance values by applying alternative form of currents in human body. That current is not more than 30 ohms, which is really mild. Impedance is collectively referring the resistance acting against the flow of the currents that can be further divided into resistance and reactance. When the alternating current passes through the capacitor, maximum current value occurs before the maximum volt value, rather than two coinciding together, resulting in a timing difference between a current and a volt. Since the alternating current appears in a sine wave, this timing difference can be measured in the terms of angle, which is known as the phase angle. Reactance, which is an element of resistance occurring in the cell membrane, which acts as a capacitor in a proportional to phase angle. Therefore, it could be said that phase angle is related to health condition of a cell or the cell membrane. Phase angle increases when integrity and functioning of a cell membrane improves. Phase angle decreases when plasma cell membrane is structurally damaged or the selective transmission functions decrease. Therefore, it can be used in nutritional assessment as an indicator of body cell mass, structural integrity of cell, and physiological function. Normal value for phase angle is above 4 degrees. In aging process, we can see it between 2 to 4 degrees. But if it is below 2 degrees, that means the prognosis is very poor and the mortality rate is very high. Intensity and healthiness of cellular membrane makes phase angle higher, whereas malnutrition and aging can cause phase angle to decrease. After knowing about phase angle, the very immediate question comes to our mind is this phase angle reliable? The answer is yes. There was a study done in 2012 among the healthy individuals and hospitalized subjects using phase angle from BIA technique, nutritional risk screening, subjective global assessment, that is our SGA. They also tried to establish a relation between the phase angle and serum albumin. At the end, the result was phase angle is a useful tool for screening and to assess the nutritional risk. Researchers also found that there was a consistent sensitivity and specificity between the phase angle and the 3 screening tools that helped to strengthen their validation of the study. In a nutshell, phase angle depends on the cell membrane integrity and body cell mass. It indicates cellular health and integrity and is considered as a prognostic tool in medical disorders. Various researches states that phase angle is considered as a global marker of health. Clinical assessment of patients using phase angle may be the superior to commonly used in body composition information. Not only in adults, but it can be a useful tool in assessing nutritional status of children as well. Coming back to the topic of COVID-19 nutritional status and recovery period. We all know malnutrition is commonly seen in critically ill patients. However, bioelectrical impedance analysis technique have a significant role in evaluating their nutritional status and predicting clinical outcomes in critically ill patients. Results showed that phase angle, extracellular water, and total body water were severely associated in assessing nutritional status, particularly phase angle, which is an indicator of health and cell membrane, was higher in well-nourished patient, whereas the edema index was higher in severely malnourished patient. Phase angle was also positively correlated with albumin levels. During the mechanical ventilator, the person who did not survive were having the lower phase angle. In a conclusion, BIA, which includes phase angle and extracellular water, is an useful tool for nutritional assessment and to know the mortality of critically ill patients. As we all know, body composition analysis will play a vital role in assessing COVID-19 patients, but it's very essential to follow certain precautionary steps, such as their arms should be straight, they should be apart from their torso, it should be done after visiting a washroom, it should be done on empty stomach. It will be very difficult to get a right results if we don't input right height and right weight. And reason why person body fat varies before and after sleep. There are certain precautionary steps which we need to follow. Let's discuss about it in more details. Why arms should be on a straightened side, why there is a correct posture given, and why these two postures are wrong. The reason is, if the person keeps their arm and their leg bent while doing the test, the length of that cylinder of their arm and their leg will reduce. The current which is passing will decrease, leading to the increase in that specific area. And what results will be getting is underestimating the person body fat. Therefore, it is very essential to keep the arms straight and follow the proper posture. Keeping arms apart from the torso. When arms are joined to the torso, the length of arms decreases. Therefore, it leads to underestimation of person body fat. So, if we see the patient, if we are assessing the patient who is bedridden, then probably some amount of material like a towels or a bedsheet can be kept in between their torso and their arms so that they don't touch each other and we get a proper result. Why tests should be done after going to the bathroom? We understand the critically ill patients won't be able to visit a washroom on their own. Therefore, it is essential to do the test after they pass their stools and urine. The reason why is because BIA current won't be able to differentiate between the fecal matter and urine. It will calculate it as the fat mass. So, to avoid such hazards while doing the test, it's very essential to do the test after they pass their stools and urine. We conducted a small study over it, wherein we assessed 3 people who did their test before visiting a washroom and after visiting a washroom after 10 minutes, and we found the major changes as we can see on the screen. The person body fat varied in such individuals. So therefore it's very essential to follow this guideline. Why it is essential to conduct a test on empty stomach? For example, in critically ill patients, the test can be done every day in the morning before feeding them. And why is it essential? People say after eating food, the person will gain weight and gain their person body fat. However, the truth is, after eating food, the impedance decreases and that can lower the person body fat. After feeding or after eating food, blood is intensively supplied to the digestive organs, increasing the peristalsis and the secretions, that is your gastric secretions and absorption rate in GI tract. That will last about 2 to 4 hours. in that time the person body fat will be on the lower side. So therefore we also conducted a small test, rather a small study kind of thing, in two genders, that is male and female. What we found out was, before eating the food the result was different. Immediately after eating food, lunch and dinner, the person body fat changed. So to get proper accurate results, it's essential to be done on an empty stomach. Why is it essential to input the correct height and correct weight? InBody calculates body water by impedance index, that is, height in meter square divided by impedance. As we see, total body in equation, height is positively correlated with total body water. So if we put the increased height, the total body water also increases, resulting in decreased person body fat. When body composition is classified into two compartmental model, it can be divided into fat mass and fat-free mass. So if weight increases without any change in fat-free mass, the increased weight will result in excessive fat mass. So it is very essential to input proper height and proper weight of the individual. Why the body composition analysis change before and after sleeping? Because the posture is changing, leading to the change in segmental impedance. It takes around 15 minutes after the posture is changed for water distribution to be stabilized. Therefore, if the person is sleeping for 6 to 7 hours, the body water is redistributed like that and it is being stabilized that way. So once the posture change, it's very essential to give 15 minutes gap in between before doing the test. Now, in critically ill patients, one who can walk, it's essential to see to it that these people are having the same posture for 15 minutes. And one who are bedridden, probably that test can be done every morning following the previous precautionary steps, and we can get the proper results. To sum it up, dietitians are experts in assessing the nutrition status and the demands of the patient, taking into consideration the age, gender, and other underlying medical conditions the patient may be having. Assessment and screening of the patient at every phase is essential to make patient hemodynamically stable. Multiple organ failure is another complication seen in critically ill patients due to cytokine storm. Reducing in body cell mass, skeletal muscle index, phase angle, and increased ECW ratio is the major indicator of mortality in all populations. As we studied in the past, body composition analysis and COVID-19 has a major connection. Catabolic state, which is increased due to this COVID-19 infection, leads to muscle breakdown. So here are the parameters which we need to focus on a very niche level on day-to-day practice. We studied about skeletal muscle index, person body fat, and how they are beneficial for these patients. When the person is under cytokine storm, it's very essential to monitor their skeletal muscle index, the body cell mass, to see whether they are not going into severe sarcopenia. It's very essential to monitor their extracellular water levels to check whether the person is going into fluid overload or not. Phase angle will tell us the mortality rate of the person, and body composition history will help us to keep a track of the patient's progression towards the disease or towards the betterment. During multiple organ failure period, which is caused due to secondary bacterial infection, it's very essential to have a niche watch towards muscle mass, segmental extracellular water ratio, and body cell mass along with phase angle, because if these values are going on the higher or lower side, that will depend upon the mortality rate of that particular patient. So it's very essential to monitor all this on day-to-day basis. The ideal time of doing this test will be on everyday morning time when the patient is on the empty stomach before the feed, so we get the accurate results of this individual. Thank you for being with us in this webinar. I shall be coming live again at 5 p.m. to answer all your doubts and questions related to the presentation. If you have any doubts regarding InBody, you can Email us at india@inbody.com, or you can ping us on Instagram or Facebook. Our ID is @inbodyindia.